3-3 it would finish. What a game that was. And what does it mean now for the title race as well? A third straight draw for Arsenal in the Premier League. This is how things are looking right now at the top of the table. It is Arsenal 5 points ahead of Manchester City, but Manchester City with 2 games in hand, and the two face each other next week on Wednesday as well. Let's now welcome in Stewart Robson. How do you even explain that game tonight at the Emirates?
Well, you saw some of the worst of Arsenal and some of the best of Arsenal. I see them as a very emotional side. When things are going well for them, they can create chances, they play at a high tempo. When things aren't going quite so well, they look jittery and they make mistakes. And that comes from the manager. I mean, the mistake from Ramsdale, I think Stevie Nicol was right. I don't think he sees. I mean, because Alcaraz goes in behind Partey, and I think he almost hides behind him, and Ramsdale plays the ball, then doesn't make a good effort for the save, I didn't think. Then for the second goal, Gabriel, his position is all wrong. As soon as Alcaraz picked up the ball, he should have got himself in a position where he could see the ball and the player. He got himself the wrong way round. He doesn't see the run of Walcott. And then they don't defend a ball into the box from a set play. And if you make 3 big mistakes in a game like that, you're not going to win the title because you're going to lose matches. You know, they've got to be more solid at the back. They've got to be, I think they've got to be more consistent in their play from the first minute to the last minute. We've seen the last 3 games. The last 2 games, they started off really well and then struggled. Today, it was the other way round.
It got off to the worst of starts for Arsenal, Shaka, with that Ramsdale error.
Yeah, our criticism, we levelled at David De Gea just 24 hours ago in playing a ridiculous ball central that I'm not sure what's the benefit from it, especially considering Arsenal's recent fortunes. You start a game in a must-win situation. Yes, it's top v bottom, and you probably expect this to be much of a formality, but you don't give anybody a head start like that or start a game as Arsenal did. This is almost regardless of league position, almost regardless of league. We're talking at highest levels of the game. And then I thought, listen, as much as Stewart is saying you see the best of Arsenal, you saw the worst of it, I thought we saw a lot of the worst of Arsenal. And in all honesty, we saw some good moments from them, but not enough. I thought Arsenal had really good possession, really good opportunities, and at times their shooting just let them down. Between Martinelli scoring to make it 2-1 and Kaka scoring to make it 3-1, there's 46 minutes, and I can't think of Bazunu making a save. I can't think of anything he had to do in a game that, okay, you give the bottom club a head start, but you're trying to drag yourself back in. It's a must-win for Arsenal, and I just don't think they threatened enough until the final moments when they were just throwing everything but the kitchen sink at Southampton.
Gabriel Jesus spoke after the game and pointed to the fact that this is such a young team, and this is why we are seeing what we're seeing from Arsenal and these things happening, Stevie.
I don't quite go with that, to be honest with you. I think what we've seen over the last 3 games is the reason why Arsenal are not going to win the Premier League, and it's called defence. You know, you're 2 up at Anfield, you're 2 up against West Ham, both away, and you score 3 goals at home and you still can't win. That tells you where the problems are. And Gabriel is being nice and trying to say a nice thing. But at the end of the day, he's a big part of why they didn't win this game today and why they let goals in, particularly the last 2 that I'm talking about. You know, you have to defend. It's great. There's not a team that's ever just spent 90 minutes going forward. You have to defend. And they've shown, unfortunately, that without Saliba, they can't defend properly. You know, Zinchenko's very rarely in a position to defend, so they're basically defending with 3. And I've already said it over the last couple of weeks. Gabriel and Holding are way down the pecking order as far as the best partnerships in the Premier League defensively. So it's all about defending as well as attacking. And defensively, it's why Arsenal, in my opinion, are not going to win this league.
Jules, how much of a factor has that been, not having Saliba in these games?
It was a huge blow, of course, his injury, and we don't know when he's going to be back, of course. And I think the double blow is to lose Tomiyasu at the same time, is because you could have played Tomiyasu at right back and move Ben White to centre back and have a Ben White Gabriel pair of centre-backs that would have been better than the holding Gabriel pair of centre-backs that Stevie just explained. I think to lose both Tomiyasu and Saliba at the same time in this final sprint of the season was one of the worst things that could have happened to Arteta and to Arsenal, really. I mean, Saliba has been so good for this team, and you could feel it when he's not there. But then as well, not having Tomiyasu as another option to either, you could even play Tomiyasu as centre-back, to be fair. He's played there when he was in Italy. And yeah, losing those two right now was a terrible blow.
Stewart, is this the date got away from them, Arsenal, in the title?
It could well be. You know, this was a game, they're playing bottom of the table side. They're at home. I think everybody turned on their telly or went to the game and thought that Arsenal were going to win this quite comfortably, as they did a couple of previous home games. And it wasn't to be. They gave themselves a massive challenge. When I was saying we saw the best of them, what we saw was their spirit at the end. And I said it right at the beginning. Arsenal play with too much emotion, one way or the other. And that's their problem. And it comes from the manager. He's racing up and down the touchline. He's trying to kick every ball. Sometimes you have to calm down and get level heads around you. And that's what Arsenal haven't got when things start to go wrong. Yes, they have spirit right at the end. You know, it all came from an Odegaard goal because up to that point, Shaka's absolutely right. They hardly had a shot on target. I think there was no shots on target in the second half until that one from Odegaard. And that suddenly got the crowd going. It got the players going. And again, they played on emotion. So, I think it's going to be a real struggle for Arsenal now.
What do you think, Shaka? One draw too many? Is it the day that it got away from them?
Listen, I think 6 points got away from Arsenal in the last 3 games. 2 goals to the good against Liverpool. Stevie spoke about it. 2 goals to the good against West Ham. And then against the bottom club, and as much as you drag yourself from being 2 goals down, if you're winning titles and it's hinging on you beating the team at the bottom of the table, then absolutely yes, this got away from you. But you could say that about so much of Arsenal. So much of this game reminded me of Arsenal's home game against Bournemouth, where they won 3-2 with virtually the last kick of the game. And to Stuart's point, Arsenal riding that emotion within the Emirates, got that 3rd goal in injury time in dramatic fashion, and it felt like so much more. It felt like this was Arsenal ready to kick on, realising that, okay, maybe Lady Luck is a little bit on our side. But you've got to earn that. And I just feel that Arsenal, as much as you can look at some good results between then and now, Leeds, Crystal Palace come to mind as we had up on the graphic. Too often, I just feel Arsenal have not managed games in the way that title winners have to. And as a result, you drop 6 points, and with a team like City chasing, there's just nowhere to hide.
And a team like City, they are up against next. That's who they will be facing in the Premier League, the team that they are up against in the title race. Pep Guardiola said the fact that his side are still chasing a treble is pretty much taking its toll with all the games that they're playing. He said after Munich, they couldn't even celebrate because they were so tired. Of course, they will lie and say they want to play, but we will have to make sure they're in the best condition. It's not just this game, but we have played many, many games every 3-4 days, knowing if we lose, we're out. It's fatigue. We will have to see.
Get the hanky out. Has anybody got a hanky for me? What's a lot?
So does that mean there's a chance for Arsenal?
No, he's at it. He's absolutely at it. Oh, they couldn't even celebrate. They were so tired. Yeah, what's a lot of rubbish? Give me a break. Has he been watching the same team that we've been watching? This team's flying. This team looks anything but tired.
So no hope for Arsenal in this game?
No. No, I don't see it. For the reasons that I've just mentioned, you have to defend against Manchester City for your life. At times. Usually most of the time. Most of the 90 minutes. That's what happens to most teams. And that's what probably happened to Arsenal. And they've shown us, in the last 3 games in particular, that they can't do that. So it's very difficult to come up with a reason why all of a sudden they're going to defend well. I just don't see it.
What do you think, Jules? Man City fighting on 3 different fronts. Could they falter in this game against Arsenal?
I mean, it can always be a distraction, of course, when you switch your focus and your mindset to the FA Cup and then to the league again and then to the Champions League and you've got those big games. I agree with Stevie in terms of fatigue. When you win, you're not tired. That City dressing room right now is buzzing. They would have all watched Tonight's game, the Arsenal draw from their house, you would suspect, or maybe at somebody else's house, and they will be buzzing right now. And they know that the treble is getting closer and closer. And then if they beat Sheffield United, there's another step towards, in the FA Cup final, towards the treble, and then there will be that game. They can not pretty much, because there could be more twists and turns. But if they beat Arsenal on Wednesday, then the title is not done, but you know they will have a huge, their hand, well, at least one hand will be on the trophy, and then they can focus to Real Madrid and the Champions League. But yeah, I mean, they must be buzzing right now. They have all the momentum. They've won 11 in a row. They have great performances. They defend well. They attack well. They've got Haaland who is fit. De Bruyne is great. Bernardo Silva is in the best form of his season. Gundogan is probably in the best form of his season. Yeah, okay, Ake is the only one with his injury. We're not really sure exactly what happened there. But apart from that, it's all the lights are green everywhere. So, of course, they have to be confident, and having that momentum with them is huge.
Obviously, we just heard there Pep saying what he said, Stewart. They are in a semi-final of the FA Cup. They've not boded well for Man City in recent seasons. It's the semi-final stage where they've come out. You don't foresee any problems in this game at the weekend, do you?
Not really. Sheffield United have got two players missing. They're two Man City players, and they were two of their best players in the previous round. Remember, Sheffield United are a side that only got a last-minute equaliser against Wrexham. You know, they've done well in the Championship. They're a decent side. They play with their usual three at the back, and the two wing-backs like to get forward. But Man City will have far too much for them, and probably won't have to put out a full side. I think he'll mix and match Pep Guardiola, but it'll be enough for Man City to beat Sheffield United quite comfortably, I would imagine.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.